Welcome back to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get. Today, we're sitting down with another series of questions that Diggly Blue Moonya has sent in about our opinions on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because the first 20 questions was not enough, apparently. I'm Adam, and with me today are Pepperina and Ehlwyn.
So we're going to roll initiative. That determines which of us has to read the questions in what order. And remember, everyone has to answer each question, but whomever reads it out loud has to answer first.
And yes, we have to answer every question. So yeah, we just dropped Pepps off the call. She'll be back in half a second, but it's all right because I wanted to ask you, because Pepps and I did the first one of these, I think by ourselves.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, what's your history with Buffy? Were you there from the very beginning? Did you come in late in the series? How do you feel about it?
I actually am trying to remember when I started watching Buffy. It was definitely like when it was on TV. And I want to say it was probably in and around it was like mid-season 1 that I probably came in. And it was actually my mom that got me watching Buffy because she's a huge Buffy fan as well.
Oh, yeah?
And so like it was like from the very beginning. So I'd say at least, like a 25-year Buffy fan from the very beginning.
I popped in. I ended up seeing the finale of season 5 first. That was the very first episode I saw, and I didn't know what I was watching. I came in halfway through it, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?"
That's
and then,
rough
of course,
finale to jump in on.
Right, and it ended, and I went, and then I saw it, and it was live, right, and it ended with that message from the studio that said, thanks so much to all the Buffy creators and the creative team and all this stuff, and it was like clearly a farewell. Now we know now that it was swapping to another network, but it seemed like that's the finale at the end, and I'm like, holy crap, the guts of the show. So I went back and I ended up getting the season 1, season 2 DVD box sets.
Yeah.
For out of a bargain bin. I went, all right, I'm going to check this out. And lifelong fan since. It was solid. Peps, were you a Buffy fan from the beginning?
No. It wasn't from the beginning. I started watching, it was still going. So I think it was within season 7, but I, at the time, was cleaning houses in the morning, but I didn't have a driver's license or a car. So my mom would drop me off to my now ex's, because we were teenagers, house, and I cleaned houses with his mom. So she would drive me, and I would be there an hour or so before it was time to clean. And that is what was on at the time on FX, was reruns. So that's how I started watching it, because that's what happened to be on at that time when I was just in their basement by myself wasting time. But we had to leave before each one ended. So I missed the last 5 minutes of every episode.
God, that would infuriate me.
Until I bought the box sets. And I still have all the DVD sets there in my room. And then I finally got to see the last 5 minutes. And it was always that little jokey part at the end, right? That I would miss. That sort of summed up the episode. So I didn't know how any of them ended for a while.
That's wild.
But I still have the box sets in my room. They're underneath my TV, on display. And I just bought a new bed for the first time in 23 years. And they delivered it. And the guys delivering it were like, so who's the Buffy fan? So we had this whole conversation about Buffy with my mattress delivery guys.
Amazing. I remember we bought what we thought was the original limited edition all 7 seasons box set that came in the Slayer book. The case was the Slayer book from OG season 1. But when it came, it was very obviously a bootleg Chinese replica of it, but we bought it off eBay, and I think it was twice a year for a good solid 5 or 6 years I would do a Buffy rewatch. That was my comfort show. That was my binge show. That was my, pre-Netflix. That was the show that I would watch at least twice a year.
So then, okay, I got to ask, how many watches all the way through have you guys done?
I think I'm around 10.
20 something.
Yeah, I'm a good solid 7 to 10. Although I have to admit, it's probably been I don't think I've watched it since COVID. So
yeah, I'm currently mid-season 4 right now doing a rewatch, and this is the first time I think in 5 or 6 years that I've done it.
It is, so I have this argument with Miek all the time. I swear we're going to get to these questions. But I have this argument with Miek all the time about what show we're going to watch next. And she's very much up to date on the current shows that are coming out and doesn't like to go back in time to see stuff 20, 30, 40 years ago. So like, she's, you know, the latest season of The Umbrella Academy came out, or we got to catch up on House of the Dragon, Interview with the Vampire, the new Black Mirror season just got announced. Like, so she just goes on and on and on. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, but there are these great shows from back when you were too young and stupid to be watching television, because we were all too young and stupid at some point to be watching good shows. Like, I was a big fan of Ninja Turtles for the longest time. Not a good show. And I grew out of that and became older and smarter enough to watch good shows. And she was very young when Buffy came out and did not watch it. And so I'm like, this has got to be on our to-do list. And we'll watch Angel as well. Then we'll do we'll mix the episodes together and we'll watch them in chronological
order. Do the tandem.
Order.
Yeah, do the tandem.
Yeah, and she just looks at the number of episodes that is. Like, I don't have 250 episodes of a series in me. I went, you're not wrong. And season 1 is fucking rough. It is.
Yeah.
It is the lowest production quality of anything that I will ever ask you to watch. And it's very 90s. But I promise you will be obsessed with it later. So
I feel like she would dig Kendra so much.
Yeah, for that like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, for like the blip
and then be
that she's
real
in
mad
there.
about it.
Yeah, for the blip that she's in there. But like, I feel like she would dig Kendra so much.
Kendra doesn't put up with any shit.
Yeah.
I think she's at the age now where I don't know if she would like Spike or Giles more.
She'd like Giles.
I think so. But let's grab dice and let's actually roll initiative and get this episode started.
That's an 18 for me.
Yeah, 3.
Nice. 14.
Okay, I'm kicking her off.
All right.
Alrighty. Question number 1. What does Buffy mean to you? Like I said, like I started watching it when I was at a really young age. I think I was probably about 12 when I started watching it. And it was, of all of the TV shows that were available in Canada, you know, after school specials, everything like that, it was my first real introduction to a powerful female lead and someone that could be like more of a role model. At 12 years old, you're watching things like Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell and things like that. And the women are ditzy and vulnerable and always need that boy savior, but Buffy didn't. And I think that always kind of resonated with me, was that she was a really good role model for the time that it came out in.
I think that was the mission statement too, though, as well. So like
completely.
Yeah. For me, it's just like, it's that show that's always been there, you know, since the first time I watched it. Like, I could always go back. I can pick any episode and just like dive in anywhere. And it's an interesting show because like Buffy isn't necessarily everybody's favorite, right? Like everybody has a favorite character, and in most TV shows, that's the lead. It's the person it's like named after. That's your favorite person. This one, like, there's so many different characters that you can identify with that have vastly different personalities, but all work together. And it's that like theme of friendship, and like they are, and like they're ride or die, right? They are their own ride or die, and it gives me that hope to find that community myself, which as a kid with ADHD was a thing I struggled with a lot growing up.
If I can be honest, I was 21 when when did Buffy season 5 come out? That would have been like 2001. So 2006. Yeah, okay. So sorry, I'm doing a bunch of math for me. So yeah, I would have been 19 when this came out, when I started watching, rather, because it came out when I was like 14 or 15. And I was at the point in my life with media where I was loving movies, but not able to dig into anything solid on television. And my fandoms had let me down very recently. I was a big fan of Star Trek. Deep Space Nine is my favorite thing because it was serialized and it was dark, and it ended in 1999. I loved Star Wars. And then we got the fucking prequels. And so, like, this is right in the heyday of that, just disappointing me thoroughly to my core. And then I discovered Buffy in the era of the darkness. And I went, okay, I'm actively going through some real heavy shit in my own personal life right now. And I need something to like pour my attention into with deep lore and with an unflinching ability to like look at some heavy fucking themes without making me have to sit down and watch The Sopranos or Oz. Like I don't think I could fucking handle that at the time, right? So Buffy for me was not just comfort, but an outlet as well. And it was snarky enough that it really fucking hit home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was thick with the snark. And going back and doing the rewatch now, I would just, some of the one-liners, I'm just like, yes.
I know. They're so good.
So good.
I just
nostalgic.
watched the episode where Spike and Andrew go on like the road trip and they're talking about blooming onions.
Amazing.
Spike's like, if you tell anyone we have this conversation, I will bite you.
I just finished
up.
I just finished my favorite episode, which is The Gentleman. So
Hush.
That's
yeah.
Great.
Best episode.
Hush hits different after COVID.
After COVID, I know. I was literally
watched it after shortly after COVID, and I was like,
all of the closed, sorry, we're closed, and then the liquor store is like, yes, we're open, and I was like, oh, that's so COVID.
Yeah, Hush. Like, if anybody out there has not watched Hush since COVID, go rewatch it because it hits different.
It does. I was thinking that the entire time I was watching this.
Yeah,
and it's funny because that's not the one that was banned for being fucking topical, right? Like,
yeah.
The school shooter one was filmed and was it about to be aired and got pulled because of Columbine?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the first time anybody saw it was on the DVD box set years later, right?
Yeah. No, it's not on Disney Plus, which is what I'm doing the rewatch on.
Is it?
No. Really?
Interesting. I'll have to see if I think I'm watching it on Hulu, which I guess would be the same as Disney Plus. I haven't noticed if it was on there or not.
We don't have Hulu in Canada. We have so a lot of the Hulu stuff is on Disney Plus.
Is on Disney Plus, yeah.
Yeah, there's I have a combo subscription to
Yeah.
Alrighty, next question. Who has the best character arc? I feel like this is a difficult question for me because I feel like some of them have really good, I'm like, oh, the character's developing, and then they just crash land. But I would say from season 1, 2 to the last time we see them, I'd say Spike's got a really good character arc.
Mm-hmm.
He's very much redeemed himself, and he will always have a warm, gushy place in my heart because I love that man. I would also say Anya has a really good character arc as well.
You took both of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely agree, Spike and Anya. Which, I mean, they were, when we met them, both evil.
Yeah.
And really grew into the Scooby Gang and seeing what they do and how they work and save the world and the good that they're doing. And
yeah,
it's funny, literally next to me, I have Spike and Anya figures. They hang out on my painting desk with me. Yeah. And they both have their little amulets on them.
Oh.
I love them.
I've got to say, my knee-jerk reaction to this was Spike because it's very clear. He went from the baddest bad to the goodest good, right? Yeah. But when I stopped to think about it, I realized that starting in about halfway through season 1, Willow never stops evolving. Yeah. Spike goes through, hey, I'm this now, and he lives there for 12 episodes. But Willow is consistently changing and learning. When we think about, she goes dark, and that's the big thing, right? And then the redemption. But even before she goes dark, she's struggling, fighting in her relationship about magic. And there's always the Willow subplot going on about how she is changing and being different and reacting to the things that are going on around her and then changing because of it, as opposed to Xander or Giles. And I love Giles, the character. They see all this stuff too, but they don't change. Giles changes only when drastic shit happens, and Xander doesn't change at all, right? But then I realized it's actually probably the best arc is Buffy, because we went from dumb cheerleader through many different iterations. Like season 1 is her, like, and like every season is a different realization, right? It's she went from, and she's not my favorite character by a long shot, but season 1 was struggling with, is this my destiny? Only to like be resurrected and fulfilling the destiny even when she thought she wouldn't. Season 2 is the heartbreak, right? And growing up. We get to watch how many shows, and I'm going to ask you guys because you'll be more in touch with this than I am. How many shows actually appropriately and accurately tackle the transition from girlhood to womanhood? Because boys to men, every fucking time, every coming of age story is about men.
Yeah, it's definitely underplayed in the media, and I think that that's a huge thing. They have the Richter scale or whatever, where it's, like how many actual solid female conversations are in movies between two female characters that don't talk about men.
Ehlwyn, the Richter scale is for earthquakes. You mean the
B.
The like Bechdel test.
Bechdel. Thank you. That's what it was. I was like, brick something. Yeah, the Bechdel.
something.
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of the whole thing, that there's a lot of female actors that are out there and a lot of male ally actors that are out there that are saying like we need more female representation and more female storylines in modern media and things like that, because it's really not there. And I think that that's one of the things that drew me to Buffy so much, because I was in that preteen phase of trying to figure out hormones and awkwardness and high school and all of that, and it was very like Buffy was very relatable.
And the reason I say that she has the best character arc is because we watched her every single time, and she kept fucking up. She failed repeatedly, but we watched her go from being the least responsible person to the most responsible person. We watched her go from, irresponsible teenager to now I've got to be a big sister to now I've got to play the role of mom to now I'm leading an army. Like, I don't think I've ever seen an arc go that hard over 7 seasons, right?
Yeah. I mean, it very much portrays, like, she very much portrays just like the struggles of growing up and, being saddled with this immense responsibility and having to grow up quickly and having to make those tough decisions. And
like how many shows the character arc for the main female is like, oh, they grow up, they fall in love, they get married, they have kids, and then they're a mom. Right.
Or they're just always strong, right? Like Xena is a good example. Like Xena had arcs for sure, but like she was always a strong role model from her first appearance on Hercules, right, through her last episode. So
I think there's something to be said that like at the end of Buffy, she is not with anybody. She does not. I mean, she does not have a romance at the end. She is childless. I mean, other than taking care of Dawn, but like she was never like, oh, I'm gonna get married and have babies and hang up my stake. And that's what I'm gonna do. She carried on with just being strong and being her own independent woman and not falling into the societal norms of what every other show tells us women that we should be striving for.
Yeah, I agree. Alrighty, next question. How do you feel about the Watchers? I loved the Watchers in season 1, season 2, because like they were really good, like with Giles, it was a really good, hey, I'm kind of your source of truth. Like, I'm your research buddy. I'm the one that kind of helps mentor and guide you. But them, like Buffy essentially quitting the Watchers made so much sense because, to your point, Adam, her character developed so much that she grew beyond them and they weren't serving her anymore. And they were trying to control her when she was like, nah, I'm a boss bitch. Like, I'm just going to go do my own thing now. And whatever you'd like to do, like, fuck you, Wesley. Like, like she outgrew them. And I think that was a really good choice for the writers to essentially just kind of let it fade off into the distance, because that was really when she kind of became her own kind of fully fleshed human being. So yeah, like I again, like I think as an introductory to it, the first couple of seasons, they made sense. Once we've kind of like lived in the Buffyverse for a bit, they stopped making sense, and I hated them. I hated them in season 3.
Yeah. Yeah, her quitting was like one of the first instances, at least for me, of like seeing a woman standing up to the patriarchy, right?
Yeah.
Like it was very much that, and especially looking back at the state of the world we're in right now.
Yeah.
like I totally get that. And I think for me it was the episode where like they locked her in the house and took her powers away.
Yeah.
And like that was the turning point where you're just like,
Trial.
these guys. Yeah.
You're 18 now. You've got to go through this trial.
She don't need them.
Yeah.
And it became very much like, what are these guys even doing other than trying to hold on to the power of this woman and control it? And fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a hot take on this. I really like the Watchers, but I like them from a narrative standpoint, because I love me a secret society in my fucking media, especially when they are the secret shield between the forces of evil and the rest of the world. Like, I'm all over that. Every time that trope comes up, I'm like, yeah, if I can do it, let's go. The Watchers, to me, should have been what the BPRD from Hellboy ended up being, which is just like, hey, we do all of these magic things. We've got these archives and these repositories, and we've got all of these magic items and things, and we're masters of the mystical. And instead, in Buffy, they were just crotchety old men in stiff suits that were sitting around going, oh, we've read a book about this once. And that was really cool to watch Giles break that, right? And to see Ethan Rayne like fly in the face of that and be right in all the wrong ways, and watch Wesley give up on it. Like, I love the Watchers as not villains, but ineffective idiots and assholes, right? Like, at no point was I worried that they were going to kill the main characters or anything. It was just like, you could have been so cool. And that was the spinoff that I wanted to see when it was done. There were a bunch of spinoffs rumored, a Watchers spinoff, getting it back up to speed and stuff. And I was hoping like Willow would come back for that and run it. Like, I was so into that idea. I think they missed the boat on that.
Hey,
well,
man.
there was like a line in, I just watched the finale. I just watched like the last 3 episodes this morning. And there's a line in it where like they say something to Dawn about like, go on, mini Watcher, like or Watcher in training or something like that. And yeah, I think that would have been a very like Dawn definitely should be a Watcher, like for sure. They should build that back up from the ground up and redefine what Watchers are.
Who knows? Maybe some powers that be that are just currently writing the reboot for it are going to listen to this episode and bring back the Watchers, guys, but make them better.
Make them better.
Make them better.
Or make them the villains. I'm cool with that too, right?
Yeah. Kind of like Wolfram and Hart.
Yeah, kind of like, hey, everybody, all the potentials have powers, right? Like there are no potentials anymore. There's just tons and tons and tons of Slayers. Yeah. We need to monitor and we need to control these girls. That's a fun fucking breaking out from underneath that shadow. I'd watch a season or 2 of that shit.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, speaking of Watcher Dawn, how do we feel about Dawn? Or how do you feel about Dawn? As the youngest little sister, or as just a little sister, I hated Dawn because I felt like she was so obnoxious. I also was so confused when we went from season 4, no Dawn, to season 5. All of a sudden Dawn exists and like everybody was normal and like it was like she had been there for forever. And I was like, I'm sorry, did I lose a year of my life? Like, where did this person come from? Like, she was just so abruptly injected into the story for reasons, but she was obnoxious and she was whiny and she was clingy and she was everything that a little sister should have been. And I hated it because I knew I was like that. Yeah. And so now looking back, she's she's got pretty good growth, but again, like she plays the little sister really well. And I think it still like irks me as a little sister. Yeah.
Yeah. That first, like the first several episodes of season 5, like very much felt like you were being gaslit.
Totally.
And that was like before like gaslighting was a word that we used daily, right? Like we didn't know what that was. But looking back, I'm like, yeah, they totally like gaslit us. And no, she was always here. What do you mean? What do you mean? And I think that's why it was like so confusing.
Yeah.
If they had the technology today that they had back then, they would have gone back to filmed scenes and included her in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you would have had flashbacks with her like in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I hated Dawn. Dawn was whiny as shit.
Yeah.
And then somebody pointed out to me that she's what Buffy would have been without the power and the responsibility.
Yep.
And it made me stop and like on my next watch through, I went, yeah, that feels a bit accurate. However, Dawn was the example for me. I learned 2 things about filmmaking from Dawn. One is that no one knows how to write children. They always write them about 3 years too fucking young. And so Dawn was 14 or 15 and acting like an 11 or 12-year-old, and it was frustrating, came off as whiny as a result.
Yeah. Right.
And I get very pissed off when I'm watching movies and there's a clearly 11-year-old girl wandering around going, Daddy, Daddy. I'm like, no, she's 11. She's like, Dad, fucking come over here. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Like these are not accurate representations because they are, but you need an actor that can pull this off. So you need to hire a 5-year-old actor that can string words together to represent a 3-year-old child. Sure, I get that. But by the time that we're preteens and stuff, stop it. Like there are some solid actors, like child actors out there. We don't need to do this. So that was the first thing. The second thing was Dawn was the first person that I was aware of the fact that Michelle Trachtenberg was doing a fucking amazing job at filling the role she was designed to fill. It was the writing and the role itself that were the problem, not the actor, because she was consistent, her growth made sense, and she was very comfortable being in the background or being in the spotlight. And no complaints at all about Dawn. On her rewatches, like now, I know if I sit down and watch this with Mia, because she's gonna be like, I fucking hate this character, and be like, yeah, but I think you're supposed to be annoyed, and that's just really hard to do, to get the audience to be annoyed without being fucking annoyed, right? Like,
yeah. Because she was like, the thing with her character is she was overly protected.
Yeah.
That's why she was so whiny.
Sheltered.
Like, yeah, that's why she was whiny and annoying, and because for the rest of us that had been there up until this point, knew what they were going up against. She had no concept of what they were going up against.
And
because she was
played
so
the ignorant,
sheltered
she played
and protected.
the ignorant kid really well.
Yeah.
And remember, we'd been through this over and over and over again for 4 seasons. Every time they introduce a new character, we get a damsel in distress trope, right? Over and over. All of season 1 and half of season 2 were Willow and Xander getting captured or being put in danger over and over and over again. And so by the time that we hit season 5 and we've gone through our first year at college and we're dealing with the military, and to get suddenly thrust back into that felt really jarring. And I think that's why people didn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. She plays the ignorant little sister really well, idealizing, the older friends and like her adorable little crush on Xander and things like that. Like, it is very stereotypical, but still like very jarring to go from season 4 to season 5. And just based off of like the psychology of like birth order and things like that. Like, Buffy was an only child and she had these immense powers and things like that, but she played that only child really well. And then all of a sudden for her to have to step into that older sibling role, it was awkward.
Yeah.
I do also think Dawn transitioned into the like rebellious teen very well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I did like rebellious teen Dawn.
Yeah.
Quite a lot. I mean, I think one of my favorite episodes with her is Once More with Feeling and like getting kidnapped and
it's my second favorite. I would say top 2 favorite, Hush and Once More with Feeling. Those are my 2 favorite episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both very good. But I think like for me, that's sort of where like the turning point of feelings on Dawn hit.
Yeah. Alrighty. How do we feel about Riley?
I'm gonna go to order and just say who gives a shit and move on. That's me.
I have mixed feelings about Riley because like I'm in mid season 4 and like Hush is the episode where Riley and Buffy realize like who each other are. They have like that little awkward like standoff. And I don't know, like I have mixed feelings about Riley. I love him and I hate him at the same time. He's kind of like a eh.
I don't know that I ever hated Riley. I was just indifferent.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's better than that Parker guy, but...
Oh my God. Oh my God, Parker.
I'm going to say this about Riley. I think Riley was the next logical step and did a perfect job as college boyfriend.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, I mean, she needed somebody normal after the whole Angel turning evil after their first time sleeping together situation.
Yeah.
Like,
And then after the whole Parker thing.
As someone also dealing with trauma, I get that. You need a cleanser.
Yeah.
I also think that he was absolutely the right choice for both casting and for writing when it came to having Buffy kind of reclaim her sexuality after the trauma of Angel and then the whole lot of and Parker and like and then a whole lot of nothing for a while. And everyone else is getting love interest and going through it. We needed to have her learn to love her own body and that empowerment, like that feminine empowerment there. And Riley was so fucking milquetoast, but also pretty hot and by like 1999 standards, right? To be like, yeah, he can fill this role, and he is just a prop so that we can explore Buffy's arc, right? And like I thought that was, yeah, sure, that's fine. I cannot tell you how much I give a fuck about the initiative.
Yeah, I mean, she did need somebody safe for a little while.
Exactly.
And I think our like meh and different feelings about him is what it's supposed to be. Like Riley is not supposed to be anybody's favorite, but he served a purpose and he was there in the time that she needed that in her life.
Yeah, he was never going to be.
He
in the
went
main
away,
credits.
and it was like, okay.
No, I think he served the purpose that he needed to serve, and he was such a polar opposite of what Angel was. Like the pendulum swung a little too far to the left with Riley. He was wholesome farm boy, military, very disciplined, compared to Angel that was broody and rebellious and just everything that was wrong. They set Riley up to be like everything that should have been perfect for Buffy.
And
he had the martial skill, he had the knowledge of the supernatural and things like that, but it just shows that on paper they could be the perfect match for you, but can be absolute hot garbage.
Yeah, and it wasn't really when he started getting that like jealousy streak of the I'm never gonna be good enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, you dumbass, she's with you. Just appreciate that she's with you.
And that's where Angel shined, because like Angel didn't mind taking a step back and letting Buffy take the lead.
Yeah. But Riley had those like this sort of Southern Midwest, like traditional conservative values of I'm the man, I should be the protector.
Yeah.
And wanted that in a relationship, but like this is not the relationship for that.
And I think that also harkens to the fact that he was written to be that way because military as well, right? So
yeah. Again, I mean, it's like with Dawn, like we're annoyed by her, but we're supposed to be. We're meh about Riley, but we're supposed to be. And that really proves that these actors were very good at the role that they were given.
Yeah. I remember seeing him on other like teen shows and shit around that time going like, good for him. I hope he gets a career. Then he didn't. I felt bad.
Yeah, he was definitely categorized up there with like the Josh Hartnett's and the Ryan Phillippe's of like the early 2000s heartthrobs that just kind of, but he was just one of the ones that never really.
That girls had posters of him up on the wall for about 6 months. The one that he was off Buffy, like he had a 6-month window before those posters came down again.
Yeah.
Right? I honestly had him up on my wall, and I had him for a while.
I don't even know the actor's name. I just only know him as Riley.
Yeah, same.
If I saw him in a thing today, I'm like, oh, it's Riley.
Fair enough.
Same. 100% same. I'm always bad like that.
Let's grab dice and reroll.
Ooh, I got a low number this time. 8.
I got an 18.
Roll off them.
Roll off.
2.
I got an 11, so I guess I'm going first here. What's the one character you could happily erase from the show? Xander. I don't give a fuck. Xander. Okay, here's my take. We got that Jesse storyline for season 1 that should have been Xander. Xander's only purpose ever was as a love interest for all of the women that would come in, and it always seemed fucking wrong. He was a love interest that Buffy rejected. He was a love interest that didn't understand Willow. He's a love interest for Cordelia because they're mismatched and teaches her humility. He's a love interest, again, with Willow to make her a bit of a bad guy and to add drama. Love interest for Anya. Like, it just never fucking stops. And love interest for Dawn, even having a crush on him. And what fucking purpose did he serve?
He was supposed to be the funny comedic relief. Like, he was the Shaggy of the Scooby group, of the Scooby gang. Like, he was...
But he wasn't funny. Like, every once in a while,
no,
he was laugh at funny. He would put his foot in his mouth and we'd all smile at him, but he was never cracking jokes that landed, right?
No, not like Oz. Like, Oz was like Oz and Spike were definitely more of the comedic relief than Xander was. I could very happily erase Xander.
Also, he's the weakest actor on the show.
100%.
Yeah.
I never liked him, and all of the drama that came out, what was it, like 10 years ago about him as well, didn't surprise me.
I hope they bring the character back with the real live actor's twin brother for redemption.
I didn't know he had a twin brother.
Yeah, he does. In the episode where he gets doubled, that's his twin.
I just thought that they pulled a Parent Trap and just doubled him like they doubled Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, no, that's his twin in that episode.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, didn't know that he was a twin. I remember when my mind was blown when I realized that Sean and Aaron Ashmore were twins. I just thought it was the same, like, because they are so alike and both really good actors. Blew my mind when I was like, wait, I'm like, that's Sean Ashmore. I'm like, who's Aaron Ashmore? Anyway.
Pep, who would you happily erase from the show?
Warren.
But I need him. I hate him, but I need him because I need the Dark Willow.
I don't know. I just want him gone. He just is so aggravating. But I like Jonathan and Andrew.
Love Jonathan and Andrew.
I hate Warren. Yeah.
Warren just gives me the ick, but I think he was supposed to give you the ick.
He's supposed to give you the ick. That's another instant of, like, that actor did very well in that role, but fuck Warren.
And he's introduced as a nerdy pervert, and then that never really goes away.
Yeah.
And then he did the most horrible thing ever, and that's murder outside of the plot. Like, this is not magic. This is not Slayer stuff. This is not a vampire. This is not the drama that we need. He showed up, no music, bang, bang, bang. Okay, bye. Fuck that guy. But what a harsh, like, reality check. I fucking hate Warren, but I need him in the show. I need to hate him. I can't wait for Miyake to fucking hate him.
Yeah, I think he's a good, solid. Everybody can agree we all hate Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Ehlwyn, do you have anyone that you would happily erase, or are you just still on the Xander hate?
I mean, I've always been on the Xander hate bandwagon. He's always been the one that's annoyed me the most because I've always just felt like he just has no potential. Like, he is just so static from season 1 through season 7.
You guys remember in the late seasons, there's the, like, recurring character Clem, just a little dumpy demon.
Love Clem, yeah.
He was a better Xander than Xander was in the latest.
100%.
We did
100%.
Yeah.
Either that or, because, like, I struggle with, like, when you erase a character, characters are introduced for specific reasons as, like, plot drivers and things like that. Like, I hate Glory. I hate Dawn. I would love to erase them, but they're there for a reason and they drive the plot forward. Xander's just there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, my answer originally was going to be Kennedy, but she drove the plot home.
Yeah.
right, for Willow's character arc. So like, okay, we needed a proactive Slayer potential that was like, fuck you, no, we're gonna do this way. Fine, yeah, okay, I understand. Purpose.
Yeah,
Xander had no purpose.
Well, exactly, and I think that like I guess he's the easy answer.
Yeah.
Because without some of the other characters that we have such like a deep dislike for, they were there, they served a purpose. Chris, he did not.
So speaking of serving a purpose, the next question is, how do you feel about all the Slayers in season 7?
I hated it.
I actually really liked it on paper. And then they just spent way too much time in the Slayer house. And I know that it was supposed to be like, not just Buffy, but Dawn is supposed to grow in light of all of these girls being there. Faith got her redemption as a leader. Like, there was a purpose for the girls, but they could have really just been in the background. Like, we could push them 50% more in the background. Oh, we got Felicia Day out of it, right? Like, that was kind of her start, I think. I'm probably wrong on that, but I feel like that was where she got her beginnings. And some of the other actors I've seen as well in other things. So like, I feel like there should have been 200 faceless, nameless Slayers in the background to just be cannon fodder. I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on the same 8 and listening to their teenage drum. The same problem we had with Dawn when she showed up was, we've been through this already. Why are we doing it again?
Yeah.
Felt a little Groundhog Day-ish.
Yeah, and the difference is that like Buffy's on the other side of this now, where all of these arguments the Slayers made, she made in seasons 1 and 2. And now she's got to be the authority figure, and I get that, but did I need 22 episodes of it? Pepps?
Yeah. I love that, like, the storyline of, you know, how it ended and them like getting turned into Slayers.
Yes.
That, like, I literally just watched that episode and cried when they all got turned into Slayers. And so I understand the point of like getting to know them and them being there and putting that time in so that you can have that payoff of like what it means for them to become Slayers at the very end of it. But yeah, it got like so slumber party and, you know, like they could have done much more with them than having them just there in the background getting slapped around like constantly and complaining about the lack of food and like bathroom time and, you know, who is sleeping where and stuff and that kind of stuff to it. But I understand having them there so you could get that connection so that it means something at the end.
Yeah, that episode where they like unlock all of the Slayers and things like that always gets to me as well. And like as a like the symbolism of it, how there is that power in the girls, you just have to unlock it. And, you know, like women are just as strong. That messaging, great. Loved it. Very on brand with Buffy. All of the Slayers, I don't know. I feel like I remember watching it for the first time and I felt like it almost cheapened Buffy's experience in a sense, because the whole time it was all about like, there is one chosen and you are the chosen one. And then we saw a little bit of the tension between Buffy and Kendra in season 2. And then after Kendra died, you know, the tension between Buffy and Faith and how different Slayers can be and, you know, kind of like their different perspectives and morals and things like that. But then to like unlock so many more, it almost, I don't know, like I felt like it cheapened just kind of like the sanctity of being the Slayer and being the only one. But at the same time, like I get why they did it.
I also thought that it was good that it was the last episode. Like we're saying goodbye to the premise altogether because I mean, you guys know, I do not need to tell you this. I'm going to start. In every generation, there is a chosen one, right? We started so many fucking episodes off with that narration. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. And so, like, she is the Slayer. That's it. You know that if they're going to do this spin-off, this sequel series that they're working on, it's going to have to be called Slayers because it's plural now. Yeah. So I like the idea of it being like, hey, we've closed this chapter, right? The Watchers are gone. The first evil has been defeated. The vampires are under control. Sunnydale is gone. Like we've wrapped everything. And we no longer need a Slayer.
And maybe that's, the metaphor that they're trying to do is that, in the past, it used to be just one female or one like very loud female voice that would be speaking out against the patriarchy and supporting feminism and things like that. And in the modern day, it is now a group of women that are speaking out against it and things like that. So it kind of shows the social evolution of our actual modern society.
Yeah.
Which, again, all here for. But I agree. We grew up on there is one Slayer. In every generation, there is a single Slayer. And that's why I felt like it just cheapened it a little bit. It made her less special. Buffy was special.
Yeah, but I like that it makes every girl feel like they could be special. Like that's at the end when like you see the little girl playing baseball.
And I was literally just thinking that.
Like
she just tightens up a little bit.
Tightens her grip on that bat and like when it hits. And the one girl who like you can tell is being beaten down and she stands up and grabs the fist.
The trailer.
And and I think that gave hope to a lot of girls that like I could also be the Slayer.
I think that moment there, not just that montage, but like that whole narrative beat, the reason they chose it was because we watched Buffy become the role model. She started off as a role model for young girls and be like, I want to be cool like her. And then go through the same journey, the same way that Harry Potter is so important to people because the growing up happened in tandem with the people that age, right? And then to say, hey, look, for those of you that did not come on this journey with us, like, and Buffy is the role model now, the final message is, and you can be a role model too, right? And like, that's a really powerful thing to end a series on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the strength to be able to do this as well.
Yeah.
And it was very on brand for Buffy.
Yeah. I did also love the episode with the Slayer in Angel season 5, where they find her and she's like in the mental institution because she didn't have anybody there to help guide her through this. And it broke her. And I think that was a very interesting take on like when we saw the end of Buffy, they're all very empowered and like all of these girls get their power and stuff. And I think that was a very interesting twist on what power can also do to a person who does not understand it and is not taught about it. And I really enjoyed that they took that sort of dark turn to it. And like that's where I hope this new spinoff sort of goes, is like finding these girls who don't understand and teaching them how to deal with that, because it's a lot of power to just like happen upon you in the middle of an afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna swap gears, move to the next question here, because we're like an hour or whatever into this, so we're not even halfway through the questions. Diggly Blue Moonya will not let us not cry.
Yeah.
Kendra, Angel, Joyce, Tara, Anya, and Jonathan, whose death hit you the hardest? Now,
can I also add Jenny Calendar to that list?
Right. Yeah. There are a couple of people here that are missing, and yeah, she's one of them for sure. But
loved Jenny.
But I'm gonna say for me, Tara was gut-wrenching. Anya was tragic. I can't make it through the body. Joyce is it. Now that I've lost a parent since then, it fucks me up to watch that, right? But on my watch through, because I started off with season 5 finale and then I didn't know anything else. And it didn't occur to me as I'm watching season 1, oh, like the reveal, this Angel guy is a vampire. Oh, I didn't see that coming. Neat, right? Like I did not know there was an Angel TV show when I was doing my watch through, right? So I got to experience Angel getting killed without any knowledge of the fact that he'd be back. This isn't the end. Like it was absolutely fuckery what they did that. And I had never seen a show that was just going to like focus on the heartbreak mid-season, the most tragic thing you can think of, and we're going to zoom in on it. You're going to live with it, and we're going to spend an episode on it afterwards, right? Like I'd never seen that before on TV. It was in the 90s. That shit didn't happen, right? Like fucking amazing. I think I stood up off the couch and I'm like, no. And then they did it. And I'm like, holy fuck. By the time that everybody else died, we had established that this was possible. But this was like Ned Stark losing his head in Game of Thrones, right? Like, we had not established that this was a possibility. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Okay. So now put it into perspective of you are a 13-year-old girl that has the biggest crush on Angel.
I'm a little offended that you don't assume I'm a 13-year-old girl anyway.
And Buffy goes and does that. I bawled my eyes out. Trauma. But honestly, I would say Tara is probably one of the hardest because she was one of the ones that was, between her and Joyce, they were two of the ones that were non-supernatural deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that hits differently when you're watching a supernatural based show.
Yeah.
You're totally right with the whole like Angel death and things like that. It kind of set the tone for, okay, like these people are going to die because of the supernatural. Even when Buffy dies, even though it's for 30 seconds when she drowns at the very beginning.
Well, the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. The first. Yeah. The first. And I mean, like the second one as well, also super traumatic. But with Joyce and Tara especially, it realigned yes, even though the supernatural world is going on and it's so threatening, there's still actual real life that's going on as well. There are, you could get shot, you could get a brain tumor and die. It was just a little bit like those are almost out of your control to the 10th degree.
Yeah.
Compared to the supernatural, because we saw Buffy overcome the supernatural so many times, but this was just stuff that she wasn't able to. And like Willow's complete breakdown of like trying to bring Anya back, and like her complete just mental breakdown of like even she couldn't bring Anya back. I think that was hard. And then, Tara. Yeah. And then Anya. Sorry. Yeah. I was looking at the name Anya because I was thinking Anya next. Anya killed me because by season 7, Anya was my favorite. And the axe through the torso kills me every time.
Mm-hmm. And then Andrew telling Xander how brave she was, and she died saving me.
Yeah.
I like that none of us said Jonathan. As
much as I love Jonathan because he's adorable.
Okay, so
fodder.
I was never a big Angel fan, so I didn't really care that he died. I also was not a huge Tara fan, so it didn't matter to me a whole lot. I was an Oz stan and was still mad that Oz and Willow were not together. Because I loved Seth Green and literally everything I've ever seen him in. And so I was very sad to see him go. And then there's just this quiet girl that replaces him. For me, that was yeah. I don't really see it, but okay. So that one also didn't super affect me. Anya hit hard for me. I loved Anya. I wanted to see her in more things. And like I said, Jenny Calendar, I would add to this list. And I think the heartbreak there was we wanted Giles to be happy. Like they had just reconnected. And watching it again, I so just want Giles to be happy and be have somebody. And it killed me when that got taken from him.
Yeah.
Giles is not allowed to be happy. I have a deep belief in my soul that no male character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel ever gets to be happy.
Yeah. No, it's like the whole premise of Angel's curse. He is not allowed to be happy.
No, but there are no riding off into the sunset characters, right?
I feel like Riley did get his happy ending when he came back. What was it in season 7 that he came back? Mm-hmm. And he was
married.
He was married and had a badass wife and all of that sort of stuff. I feel like he's the only character that got a happy ending.
Oh, I don't. I think that the at least from my perspective, Riley was aware that he settled. I think that Riley would still be with Buffy if he could.
Maybe.
I think that Buffy was the one that got away, and he moved to a simpler life to live his simple, military career. But I don't know. Next question. What monster would you like to see in a D&D campaign? You know, the one that nobody can see that paralyzes you and then like eats your flesh?
Oh, yeah.
The one when Willow comes
That
back.
got Willow.
And he just starts eating the skin off of her stomach, strip by strip. I need that monster in a D&D campaign.
Yeah, that one is like one that sticks with me, that like has always given me the chill when he like peels off and then like
the little strips of
the strip and like sops up the blood. And that one is always like gives me chills.
She is so helpless. I desperately want to have that monster in D&D. I can make a case for a lot of other monsters, but that's the one that I think would have my players very, very happy to kill it right the fuck now.
Yeah. I think it's the judge. I think that's his name, where he's in pieces and they have to put him back together. Yeah. I think that would be a very cool D&D campaign of like trying to stop somebody from piecing this thing back together, and you're always just like a little bit too late to where it was.
There were a lot of like really, really good demons that we got from Buffy. The one that always freaks me out and like still to this day gives me like nightmare heebie-jeebies is the one that's like, it's like the giant cockroach that is on the ceiling, and like Joyce goes insane and is like, what are you staring at? Why are you staring at me with those red eyes? And like that one creeps me out.
The Queller demon.
Yeah. I don't know, honestly, just for the vibes, I would love Clem. But like as like an NPC.
And there's a whole underground cat gambling situation in the town.
Yeah, like why are all the cats gone? Like not so much as like like who would I want to see as a big bad evil guy? Like I would just love Clem for the vibes.
Yeah,
I can get behind that. Although if I can be honest, if I'm going to pick anyone for an NPC, it's going to be the mayor.
Oh God, I hated him.
I know, he's such a good bad guy.
You know,
can we also get rid of Principal Snyder?
I was just about to say, I was like, the only one that I hate more than the mayor is Schneider, only because like the mayor was big bad evil guy. Schneider was just a douche.
Yeah.
I
was just a human.
I fucking love Armin Shimmerman is one of the best like underappreciated actors out there. Such a great character actor, and I fucking love to hate him.
But like with the mayor, you're like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, he's centuries old and, you know, he's been preparing for this ascension for forever. And, you know, he is big bad. Just Schneider is just
a weasel. Yeah.
It's just, he's just a human weasel. Yeah. Clem. Love Clem.
Which season do you think has the best plot to steal for a D&D campaign? I am going to say season 3. Having the mayor and his shit and the ascension to becoming the next form and all of the little clues leading up to it. And he's bringing in vampires and he's dealing with devils and demons. Like I could get a solid 5 levels out of a D&D campaign with just that, and then you have to fight the big monster at the end. Yeah, it feels D&D to me. Yeah, I could do it. I can make an argument for any of them, especially season 5.
I was just about to say season 5.
Yeah, I was going to say season 5 too.
Yeah,
season 5 for me. But again, like I feel like it's the obvious one. What you brought up, Peps, with the judge, like I never even thought of that. I'm like, you could make an entire arc on that.
Make a whole campaign.
An entire campaign. Like that's an entire that is somebody's arc of they know about the judge and like they've got to go through and they got to make sure that this Mr. Potato Head does not get assembled.
Yeah, and he's only in a couple of episodes. Like he's not the huge big bad of any season.
But for me, it's definitely like season 5 is kind of the obvious, but it's when you boil season 5 down to just the bullet points of you have a god, she's looking for a key, you got to figure out who the key is so that the apocalypse does not start. That's D&D.
Yeah,
I would also love to play with, and you would as the DM, you would have to have conversations with a player, but like having the Dark Willow moment of like a player and be like, okay, I have a plan for your character and I want to make sure you're on board with going this direction. But I want to make you the big bad at the very end and not tell anybody. And I think that would be a very cool twist that your players would not see coming at the table, that they end up having to go up against one of their own.
I always love it when players are in cahoots with the DM, and there's that side irony of like the dramatic irony of like they know what's going on, but the rest of the people don't.
I have a crit failure table that we roll on, and if you roll a 1 on the crit failure table, then all it says there is DM shenanigans, where you've got to go into another room or have a side conversation sometime during the week with me, and I am going to force your hand to do something for the plot. And because I know Charlie will never listen to this, Megan rolled 1 on our crit failure table about a year ago. And Charlie's character is chaotic and selfish. And the rule is if Charlie's character does something that strays into evil, Megan's character has to kill him. And I know that Charlie's in there for the kerfuckery, but like, man, this collusion has been amazing. It is so fun. Which do you... Oh, no, I think we just asked that. Okay, so it's time to roll initiative again.
Alrighty.
19.
I rolled a 19.
14.
Roll off.
The second roll off in a row.
Oh, that's a 9.
10.
All right, Pepps, I think this entire 5 questions here is all about Angel.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Talking about Angel for a minute. What was your favorite season? Mine was season 5. Cause Spike's in it. Pretty much.
I don't have a favorite season. I wasn't a huge Angel fan. Season 1, I saw the potential. Season 2 with Wolfram and Hart and kind of all of that. Okay, sure. I loved Gunn. He was a good addition. Season 3, they lost me.
Season 2.
Yeah, 3 and 4 are high.
Season 3, they lost me.
Season 2 also added Harmony as a vampire, which was amazing. And
yes, I do love Vampire Harmony.
And we ended up getting Fred at the end of it.
And we got Fred. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I think that there was some really good character additions in season 2. Pregnant Darla can't do. That whole plot, that whole storyline with Darla, with Connor, like I can't do it.
That's all season 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So is going to be unpopular. I really like season 3. Season 3 is, and let me go through this. It is by far the darkest thing that we have ever seen in the Buffyverse, where Wesley has to steal the baby and take it to a hell dimension and then gets his throat slit. And all of his friends are like, no, we're not even going to look for him. Fuck that guy. Wesley is probably my favorite character in the entire Buffyverse. And to watch him go through hell when he is morally right and then get punished for it for episodes upon episodes, that is the darkest I think that any of the Buffyverse ever got, and I fucking loved it. And he never recovered. He is a pragmatic, dark, tortured soul. And the moment where he might get happiness in season 5, it gets stolen away from him twice. And I fucking love it. So I'm not a fan of any of the season 4 with Connor and Cordelia shit that annoyed me too much. And I thought season 1, R.I.P. Doyle. I like season 1 and season 2 were a lot of Monster of the Week stuff, but I don't know. Season 3 was gnarly and full of continuity, and the hard decisions were being made. I don't know. I just liked it. It just fucking made me happy.
Season 2, we also got Lorne, which I loved him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he was just the host. He wasn't Lorne until season 3, right?
Yeah, I guess, but still.
Yeah, but we did get him.
But he was introduced. Yeah.
His rendition of "It's Not That Easy Being Green" is one of my favorite things in the world. So.
All right. So what was your favorite storyline? Again, it was the Angel and Spike like becoming somewhat partners at the end, like in season 5. And I just love their dynamic together. And I loved seeing that play out. But I also really loved seeing them all work for Wolfram and Hart and like how they were changing in their new environment. I think was just like spun the show on its head in a completely like different way.
Yeah. Ehlwyn can't come up with an answer for what she liked about Angel at all.
I have a favorite episode of Angel, and that's when they turned into puppets.
Oh, that was
they turned into puppets.
Oh, smile time.
Yeah. My friend had that puppet.
So I have that puppet. A high school ex-boyfriend actually bought me the Angel puppet.
Yeah.
He's like 3 foot tall or 2.5 feet tall or something like that, and his eyebrows come off. His eyebrows are Velcro, and
nice.
he's packed somewhere in a box at my parents' house, and I have no idea where he is, but he exists, and he is within. I do own him. Love him to death. But I would say I like that episode.
It's a good one. Yeah.
My favorite storyline is anything to do with Lindsay. He was just such a slimy piece of shit that whenever he would show up, I'd be like, oh, we're getting into fuckery now. Lila and Gavin and Lindsay they were so much fun. And then when Lindsay came back in season 5, I was stoked. And it turns out he could play the guitar and kind of sing. I didn't realize that.
Man, I forgot that character existed until just now.
I also forgot that character existed, which is weird.
All right, this is probably a better question for Ehlwyn. What did you hate the most? Connor.
Oh my God. Oh, the whole Connor
and
Cordelia
goddess.
Yeah. I hated it so much. It gave me the ick.
Okay, we're just going to address this because I hated it too. It was like this is the low point of the series. But I have to say, I don't hate Connor the character, and Vincent Kartheiser is a decent enough actor. I've seen him in other things. And like I say, the character of Connor was not bad when he was a feral fucking half vampire kid from hell. Like, I don't mind any of that. And I don't mind Jasmine the goddess that everybody loves. That's a really cool idea. Like, she's evil as fuck and she's stealing free will, but that's a really neat idea. And we got the Beast, which was all about the apocalypse, and like we got a real apocalypse in LA during it. Like, really cool idea. But the Cordelia thing was dirty and I didn't like it. And it
was the Cordelia of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I like Charisma Carpenter. Like, I think she did the best that she could with what she was given, but they were just out to fucking get her in that season.
Yeah. Have you seen her on TikTok?
Yeah.
She's she's come back to TikTok. I love watching her like hot takes on the whole Buffyverse on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not pulling punches.
Yeah.
Again, love Jasmine. Also love just Gina Torres in general.
Absolutely.
Like, love her.
I did love seeing all of the Firefly characters showing up. Like, loved Caleb. Like, and seeing Nathan Fillion in an evil role. Amazing. Yeah, loved seeing like her come in as Jasmine. I think it was the that she came from Cordelia.
Yeah.
Situation.
And can we high five Nathan Fillion for taking Xander's eye? That was pretty rad.
So good.
I just watched that one this morning too.
Yeah. I was thinking about it before we sat down to record. I was like, oh my God, like I had like an epiphany of like, oh my God, Nathan Fillion is in Buffy.
Yeah.
Because like as I'm going through the rewatch, all of these like memories are starting to come up because like I said, like I haven't rewatched it probably for 5, 6, 7 years maybe. And then it was like I was like, what was like the whole premise of like season 7? And then I was like, all right, there was the call down. I was like, oh my God, Nathan Fillion. Yeah. So
all right. So who was our favorite character? I think for me it was Fred. I loved Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even loved what Fred turned into and how like vastly different it was, and seeing that actress in a different role. Yeah. And seeing her range go from Fred to Illyria, I think was really cool.
I knew a girl for like 10 minutes who had a baby named Willow Illyria. I'm like, that's a super fan right there.
My cat's name's Willow.
Yeah.
After Willow. Yeah, we got her the day before Halloween and we named her Willow because I wanted to name her after a witch. We were going to name her Maleficent, but I already had a cat named Maverick who we called Mavi, so we couldn't have Mavi and Mally.
Yeah.
And then we were sitting there and I was like, nah, it's Willow.
Yeah.
I love Fred. I love Doyle. I love Lorne, just again as like those little comedic reliefs. I love Gunn. I think like Fred and Gunn's kind of little like romantic arc and things like that, adorable. I think it's more of like the side characters, and then like when Spike comes in.
Yeah, I tried not to say Spike. I tried to come up with somebody that wasn't Spike.
I know. It's hard to not say Spike.
All of them. It's so hard to not say Spike.
It's hard to not say Spike.
So taking Spike's my favorite, taking him aside.
Yeah.
Because he's only had one season, Fred.
I gotta say, I really, really liked Wesley. I think that he was an awkward choice when he came in to replace Doyle and they needed to do something. And like, I guess this actor's available, we'll get him. And then he was so awkward when it was just the Angel, Wesley, and Cordelia trio, and it was so good. When he came in, I'm a rogue demon hunter. What's a rogue demon? Fuck, I fell off the couch. Like, no respect given. And he went from being a fucking clown to being a Greek tragedy. And when he, in season 5, he's just had enough and he fucking shotguns off a guy's kneecap because he's not working on the right fucking project. Yeah, that's my boy. I'm here for it. I'm all about it. This guy gets shit done.
Yeah. All right. So how do we feel about how season 5 and the way that the show ended?
So season 5 is the big, they joined Wolfram and Hart, right?
Yeah. I forgot I was supposed to answer that first. My dog just busted down here. I mean, it was a very similar like Last Stand as Buffy. At the very last scene where they're like standing in that street and everything's coming at them and it just ends. Oh, I wanted more. I wanted more from it so bad. And I want to know what happens after that and who made it out alive. Like Buffy, we know who made it out alive. Like we got that final scene of them at the edge of the Hellmouth and getting out of the bus, and we know who made it and who didn't. We don't know who made it and who didn't.
I can actually answer this. I know the answer to this.
Well, you know, there's like comics and stuff afterwards that
I read the comics for a while. They were pretty great.
Went off, but like those of us who only saw the show, like, and it ended there.
Well, you should know, Pep, specifically for you, that Angel actually ended up taming the dragon and rides the dragon in the comics. So there you go.
Nice. It's the only important information I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think season 5 is like, it's definitely a good redemption season to the hot garbage of season 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anything that came after season 4 was going to be okay. Because there was really only up from season 4.
It needed that hard reboot. Like it really did.
The abrupt end, having gone back and actually read like why that actually happened and why the network canceled Angel, was just simply because Joss Whedon asked for an early extension. Like he went to the CEO too quickly and was like, you need to say like, I get season 6. And the CEO was like, fuck you. I'm just going to cancel your show. That's the reason why Angel ended. It wasn't anything to do with like, they were the second grossing, or like the second most popular TV show for their demographic on their network. And it was just a battle of egos. And that's why we didn't get the rest of season 5 and any more seasons.
Yeah, that's fucking painful.
Like, that's it. Like, there's no other edit. Like, I think that's what I hate about it the most. Because they were coming back in season 5. I do have to give it that to them. They turned Wolfram and Hart around, and I do like how, you know, it was the evil corporate empire, and now, you know, it's kind of, they're using it for good, and it kind of sort of had early Buffy Watcher vibes to it, where, you know, they had all of this knowledge and power and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, the fact that the show ended just based off of human ego sucks.
I love season 5. Like it was such a different show, and having Spike show up at the end of the first episode was so fucking jarring, and I was like, what the shit? And then all of the Spike ghost shit, hilarious for like 12 episodes.
So funny.
Yeah, loved it all.
Just popping in and out.
Yeah.
Just annoying the fuck out of Angel because he can.
Yeah. And I'm glad that Wesley and Fred found a home there, and Gunn Gunn was doing nothing for a while there in season 4 as well. Like he was just forgotten. So him coming back with a really interesting arc. Season 5 was great. But I gotta say, like that last episode, as we see the ending of all of the arcs, and they did Lorne so dirty, they made him a bad guy for just a moment. Like they put weight on his soul. He survived, but at what cost, right? And it was heartbreaking. And that last moment of let's go to work was so like, it gave me gave me chills. At that point, I'd caught up on Buffy and seen the end of it. And I had about 5 or 6 other friends that I kind of talked into watching Buffy and Angel. And so I actually had a watch party for the end of Angel season 5. And it was all dudes. And when it was like the army coming down the alleyway and I get to slay the dragon, right? And there's just the 3.5 of them left because Gunn is bleeding out. Fucking great. Like we were all just jazzed up, adrenaline pumping for the end of that. So it was, I love it.
All right. I think it's time to roll again.
All right, let's roll again.
15.
18.
19.
We're rolling high this episode.
We are.
All right, Peps, keep going.
Buffy. All right. Who do you identify with the most in the Buffyverse? All right, so it says Buffyverse, so I'm gonna assume that also means an angel.
Sure.
And I think having watched it throughout my life from like teenager to now 38 and being a mom of teenagers, it has changed, and I think now I like kind of identify the most with like Joyce.
Yeah.
Just like single mom of teenagers trying to do her absolute best with what she has. And like I've turned it, I think like when I first watched it, it was probably Willow, the like sort of weird nerdy girl, and I have grown into Joyce.
Know who I identify with the most.
Oh shit, that was me next. I rolled an 18. Sorry, I muted myself so that you could talk about. Oh shit, no, it's me. I don't know, probably Giles. Like there's not a whole lot of dudes there, and I don't have the swagger of the vampires, so I'm gonna like Giles. Nobody wants to be Xander. Nobody wants to be Andrew or Jonathan, right? So yeah. And I assign homework to all of my friends.
You do.
Yeah.
You very much do. I don't know who I identify the most with. I don't feel like there's any one character. Like there's different aspects of characters that I identify with. Cordy, kind of season 1 through 3, and the growth that we see from being kind of very self-centered to being, a little bit more humble and not so much like I was very much the girl in high school that had to march to the beat of the social drum. And I needed to fit in, and I needed that acceptance from my peers to, when I was in grade 11, grade 12, I could give 2 shits what anybody thought. And so like that I kind of identified with Cordy.
Yeah, she has that line about like, even though I'm surrounded by people, don't think I don't feel alone. Like that sort of sentiment of a line.
As an adult, I don't know, like looking back, I would say like I kind of identify with Giles as well. Like just kind of just in like the careers that I've had and things like that, they've always been more in leadership roles and having to manage and like mentor people. So I definitely kind of identify with that a little bit. But again, like I always find that when I go back and watch shows that I watched when I was a kid, I identify with the parents a lot more, or like the adults in the show a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm going to hijack it for just a second here because I'm thinking about the other lady mimics. And I mean, clearly Megan wants to be Faith and Mieka is Cordelia. What's Casey? Who is Casey? Is Casey Willow? I'm thinking science nerd. Like sweet and quiet and might actually kill you if you're not careful. I can't. Like I'm having trouble with Casey.
I could see Willow.
Again, like I don't think that Casey fits in any one of the boxes.
Fred,
I could see
maybe.
Well, and that's what I was thinking as well. I was like, she's a little bit of a cross between Willow and Fred, but like Willow and Fred were always supposed to kind of be parallel characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think Fred is what Willow would have been if she didn't get into magic?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Casey is what Willow would have been if she didn't get into magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right. A lot of the characters had to do bad things or made selfish choices in the Buffyverse. Which one is the most unforgivable? As much as I love Spike, that one episode where he attacks Buffy.
Yeah.
The assault.
Like the assault on Buffy, out of love. I think that was the hardest one.
Yeah. What the fuck were the writers thinking?
That was okay. So I'm a defend the writers on this one. That was a Joss Whedon call because Joss didn't like how popular Spike was becoming, how he was becoming a fan favorite. And he was like, no, he's like, nobody's supposed to like Spike. And he wanted to essentially tear down this character.
I just saw a TikTok with James Marsters talking about how much therapy he had to have after that scene.
Yeah. It
because
took them
of how much it messed with his head having
it took him like 5 or 6 hours to film that scene because of the amount of times that he had to call for stop because he could not get through it.
Yeah, like
but
he has
Joss
said, like
kept pushing
after they like would stop, he would just go in the corner and cry.
Yeah.
Like that scene affected him so on such a deep level as a person.
Yeah.
But I think it also I think it affected the fans on that deep level as well. And I mean, after I think getting his soul was the only way to come out of that. Like that was the only, I know this question is what's the most unforgivable. And I think if he hadn't gotten his soul, it would have 100% been unforgivable. And I think the only reason that us Spike stans get around that scene is because he then went and fought so hard to be the right man that he needed to be. But still that scene sits with you.
I'm gonna completely agree with you and then change the subject to something a little lighter, like murder.
Okay.
So that scene aside, we only have 3 heroes actually kill a human being. 4 heroes, because Buffy accidentally staked a guy, right?
No, Faith staked.
That's right.
Faith staked the deputy mayor.
Yeah.
Faith, Giles killed Ben, Lauren killed Lindsay, and Willow killed Warren. But Faith ended up imprisoning herself to make amends and just deal with the prison system, and took herself out of the game for a while. She had a redemption arc, and both Lauren and Willow felt the absolute weight of their decisions and were full of regret immediately upon doing those things. But they also killed bad guys. Giles killed an innocent and did not regret it.
Mm-hmm.
And we forgave him for it. It just was a non-factor in any of the seasons after that. What did he, that was nothing. He made the hard decision and he did it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. But my God, he killed an innocent. He doesn't get to go to Buffy's heaven. He gets to go to one of the hell dimensions, right? I love Giles, but fuck around. That was rough.
Yeah. I think that was his Ripper side coming out.
Yeah.
Which I also would have loved to seen more of, his Ripper days. I love that storyline. And
so
when
good.
Ethan shows up and until that point, he was just nerdy good father figure Giles. And then it was oh, there's a darkness there.
Yeah.
There's a 13 episode series called Constantine, which has nothing to do with Buffy at all, but I assume that that's what Ripper was.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. As much as I love Willow, I still have not forgiven her for this. It's resurrecting Buffy.
Yeah.
In season 6. It is the most selfish thing that I think the Scooby Gang could have possibly have done. And then for them to turn around in season 6 and say, we question your leadership, we're kicking you out of your own house. That entire thing just pisses me off, because you ripped this person out of heaven after she sacrificed her life to save her sister, and then sits there, and then you guys sit there on your high horse and say, you're not meeting our expectations. You're going off with Spike, you're rebelling, you're making bad choices, you're not. Of course, woman's freaking traumatized. You ripped her and she had to dig her way out of her own coffin. Give her a little bit of grace.
If I can be perfectly honest, that whole kicking her out, I blame Xander.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because everybody else was under strain and stress. Willow just come back from being exiled to the Watchers, and there's a bunch of shit going on, and they're at war. But Xander, 100%. With his fucking yellow crayon monologues and stuff,
I know,
couldn't be there to back Buffy. No,
I know. It was how quickly, yes, they were all under stress. I get it, but it was just how quickly they turned on her after they pulled her. And okay, yeah, they thought that she was in hell. That's fine. They thought that they were saving her, but just, I don't know. It just is the most selfish thing that I think that they could have done after she made the ultimate sacrifice. This wasn't her being drowned by, in season 1, this was her very pointedly jumping into the glowy sphere and sacrificing herself and making that conscious decision of, I'm going to do this. And then again, they bring her back and it just devalues her act.
Mm-hmm.
And like the attitude that Dawn had towards her and just like all of this shit. Like,
yeah, but why aren't you happy?
Yeah. You should be thanking us.
I was dead yesterday.
Yeah, you should be thanking us.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, and only Spike was the one. And I think that that's really where I fell in love with Spike, because he was the one, as soon as he saw Buffy and he saw her hands, he was like, you had to dig your way out of your own coffin. And he's like, I've been there before. And like, he had sympathy for her and really showed a lot of compassion towards her when everybody else was like, oh, you should just shake it off. You're the Slayer.
Yeah. And he didn't have a soul then.
And he didn't have a soul then. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So which episode do you skip on a rewatch? So like I've said, I just watched the like end of it, but I was doing a rewatch like starting from the beginning. And I skipped the one with the teacher that is a mantis.
Fuck. That was my answer. I've got 10 more answers, but that was the one.
Yeah, I could do without that one, you know. And I think just a lot of the early ones and the early monsters, and it's just like every single one of them was one of them falling in love with a monster, and then it just being weird.
Always Xander.
Yeah. And like the hyenas and
yeah.
The early bad guys are really rough.
Yeah, the hyena episode was going to be one of mine, except that was the last time Xander was interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's like what, episode 6 or something of season 1? Like,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of like season 1 episodes that I won't necessarily like skip it, but they definitely make me cringe. Or they're ones that, because usually when I do rewatches and things like that, I'm not like fully sitting down and like engrossing myself in it. It's playing in the background. It's usually when I'm doing work.
I call them
from
phone
home
episodes because I'm scrolling on my phone the whole way through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that, or it's like I'm just literally just working on spreadsheets for work and I just need background noise so that I don't go insane. And I usually have some TV show up or something like that. And they're ones that I'm like, I could focus on work a little bit more than I can focus on the TV show right now. But like, yeah, I would say the mantis one, hyena one, the swim team that turns into the
fish guys.
The fish guys. That one was horrible. And the fact that like they're all just swimming out in the ocean right now because she didn't kill them all. Like they are literally are set free in the ocean. Like they exist in the world still.
Yeah, because it was the coach that was the bad guy, not the players.
It was the coach. Yeah. That one, season 4, the caveman episode.
Oh, Beer Bad?
Beer Bad.
Yeah. But it gave
I know a lot of people have hate on Beer Bad.
It's funny.
Yeah, we do get Fire Bad, Tree Pretty, which might be the most eloquent line from the entire series.
Yeah, that's a good
very
line.
True.
Yeah,
it's actually very true. Yeah. There's again, like I think there's a lot of like these filler episodes that don't really drive the plot forward. They just exist.
Well, we got spoiled later by having it all be continuity. It was supposed to be Monster of the Week with finales, and during the sweeps, we pay attention to the plot, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree with everything that you guys have said. Those are all bad episodes. You have missed, of course, I Robot You Jane with the computer demon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's because I blocked that one out of my mind.
Also the absolute cringe fest that is Ted, where John Ritter showed up as the new boyfriend.
Yes.
Joyce. Cringy. Fucking.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
love John Ritter. Hate that character.
Yeah.
Did you guys forget about the one where Buffy and her friends encounter even more trouble than expected when the eggs they're given for health class turn out to be prehistoric parasites?
Yeah, that one as well. Who was it? Somebody hard-boiled their egg and went to go eat it and almost ate that alien thing. And then Buffy's ended up breaking. Yeah, it might have been Xander. And then Buffy's ended up breaking, but it was like Willow had this alien parasite attached to her. Yeah.
Yeah,
that one was bad.
There are only the two others that I do not skip, but I have to sit there and watch it through like the cynicism. The one where every female in Sunnydale falls in love with Xander.
Yeah. After he does the love spell.
Fuck, that hurts. Like, it makes me cringe.
Yeah.
But the only one, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, because I remember it being decent on the first watch, and then I have no need to go see it again afterwards, was the one where there are the ghosts in the high school of the student and teacher lovers with the tragic romance that possess Buffy and Angel while he's Angelus, so that we have this little like romance beats and whatnot, but it's a student and a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A student and a teacher in the 1950s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there was a lot of stuff that is like, yeah, I don't feel the need to rewatch that one. There's so many good things, but like these are ones that I'm gonna set me up to watch it and then go edit an episode for the podcast.
I do have to say the only thing that I do like about that episode is that in the end the genders reverse. So the teacher is Angelus and Buffy is the student, and she shoots Angelus, and because he is a vampire, he comes back and she's like, I forgive you. And they're able to kind of wrap that up. Like that's the only way that they would have been able to do it. Or else it would just be Groundhog Day of them continuously looping. That's like the only, I was like, okay, that's smart of them. Like that's the only way that you would be able to conclude that.
Yeah.
To give peace to those ghosts, to those spirits. But yeah, there's
I don't
season
know
1, season
what
2,
it
there's a lot of
is
cringe
about pop culture and having the teacher student thing. Like almost
It's
every
taboo.
high school like drama I can think of has some sort of storyline about a teacher. And a
It's
student.
also because that's when human beings start to, like when they're students, that's when the sexual fantasies start in their heads. And so like that can easily turn into that fantasy, right?
Yeah.
I understand.
I mean, that's even the Mantis episode. You know, she was the teacher and going after students.
Yeah, I think like it doesn't make it any better, but like Buffy, the 2 times that it did happen, it was a female teacher going after male student. The ones that are like more in like modern that I can think of the most are like One Tree Hill and Pretty Little Liars. It's the male teacher. It's the male teacher that is going after the female student. And that like they're both predatory and they are both very wrong on the exact same level. And you know, it's a power dynamic that just should never be. But I feel like the male teacher going after the female teacher has that added level of like the male dominance and the patriarchy. I don't know. They're wrong on both accounts. And I don't like it whenever it's in a TV show. I think it's probably the worst trope.
I would have loved to have seen an episode, considering how progressive that Buffy is and how much it's about female empowerment. In a time when like that was not a big thing on television. Like this was one of the like forerunners for all of this. I would have loved to have seen an episode where whatever magic chicanery is happening, spells, demons, whatever, is because a male teacher is attracted to a female student and they bust him and he goes to fucking jail at the end.
Yeah.
Right? Like really vilify that, and you don't have to kill him. Make him get dragged out in front of the media and have a message for young girls. You don't have to put up with this shit. Right. And I think if Buffy had been made 20 years later, we might have had that episode. Right. But I cannot imagine any other scenario where that would be. I am so glad that at no point was Giles fucking like sexualized by any of the teenage girls on the show. At one point they see him playing the guitar and Willow says, I think he's kind of hot, right? And in that moment that is it, and like it stands out.
And then they're like, Bleh.
It's like you hear the record scratch and everybody's like, I'm sorry, did that come out of your mouth, Willow? And she's just like, even like, oh, I can't believe I said that.
Right. And so like, it was played for laughs, but I am so glad that, I mean, vampires being hundreds of years old aside, they did not really play with age dynamics like that. And even
there was
when
like
Dawn,
the Wesley Cordelia where he was a little older.
But I feel like he was 22, like, and she was 17, or no, that was graduation year. So 17, and then Dawn with Xander, right? But the moment Cordelia and Wesley kissed, it was over. All that tension was imagined, and Dawn having a crush on Xander made sense and didn't go anywhere. Great.
Yeah. All right, we went way off topic on that one. But we've only got 2 left. Which actor do you think deserved a bigger career after Buffy and Angel ended? Honestly, like all of them. Like pretty much all of them. I mean, Willow went on to have another like really big show, but
Yeah. And Sarah Michelle Gellar had a career for sure.
Oh, God,
yeah.
She had a career before Buffy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Tony Head is huge in the UK. He's done so many comedies and things. So.
Yeah. But like,
I mean, even
I wanted
David...
to see more Andrew. Like, I loved Andrew. Like, I loved that his character, especially in the last season. Not so much during the, what were they called? The trio. Not so much during the trio, but the last season, I loved Andrew, and I wanted to I would love to see more of him in other places. Like Anya, I want to see more of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen her, like, she's just been in sort of like more so like one-offs of shows where she like shows up as a character, and I'm always so excited. Like, it's Anya.
Yeah.
Wasn't she in 90210 also for
Was
a little
she?
bit? I think so.
I'm on the IMDb. Let me 1 second.
Or am I hallucinating that? But I feel like she was. I feel like she was Brandon's girlfriend.
I gotta say, I was surprised that we never saw anything else really from Gunn or Fred outside of Joss Whedon projects.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see more of Andy Hallett, who played Lorne, but he tragically passed away in 2009, right? Like, I know he had health problems, but like, yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get more Gunn or Fred. I feel like they had the acting chops to do that, like to have a big career. Charisma Carpenter too. Like, where did she go?
She's kind of
TikTok. She went to
yeah. For me, honestly, for as badass as a character as Faith was, I'm actually surprised that like Elijah Dushku did not, like, she had Dollhouse, which had 1 season, maybe 1.5 seasons or something.
No, it had a full 2 seasons. They wrapped the story.
2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then really, like, I'm actually looking at her IMDb right now, and she's had like 1 episode here, 1 episode there. She's done, like short. She went into voice acting. She was in 51 episodes of Hulk and the Agents of Smash. So she went into voice acting and did that, but really she hasn't been in a whole hell of a lot, and she's been in nothing since 2017.
I believe that's because she became a therapist.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good for her. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I believe she quit acting and is now
and just decided to become a therapist. Amazing.
Although
I love that.
She does still tour around to do conventions and stuff, because I've met her. Like, I got a photo with her. Like, she is amazing. But like, she's just a great human being. But she had, what was it, Wrong Turn, that shitty horror movie from like the early 2000s. And I think she was even in the sequel.
She was in Bring It On.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Her in Bring It On.
She was in Bring It On. She was in Jay and Silent Bob, Strike Back. Yeah, she was in Wrong Turn.
She definitely showed up and stuff, but yeah, I always loved her and anything she was in.
Yeah, but she's just one that I always felt like needed or at least like deserved like a Sarah Michelle Gellar level career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Did you IMDb the?
Yeah, I'm scrolling through trying to find 902. I'm trying to remember when 90210 came out. What year?
It was a while ago.
It doesn't look like was in 90210. Looking in like the 20, because Buffy ended in 2003.
She was in 30 episodes of Beverly Hills 90210. She was Susan Keats.
Yep.
She was in Life Unexpected as well.
She also did 40 episodes of General Hospital, that terrible movie Darkness Falls from 2003, and Saved by the Bell, The New Class. Jesus.
Once Upon a Time as well.
The 90s just reached forward and slapped me.
Yeah, everything she's been in has just been like an episode or
it's the old Beverly Hills that she was in, the old 90210. For some reason I was thinking, I'm like, what do you mean she was in the reboot? Like, I was thinking it was
the original. I said
OG
she was
one.
Brandon's girlfriend.
I never watched 90210.
That was big.
Never watched 90210. Yeah, so I didn't scroll down far enough. Yeah.
All right, so this is our last question here. If they had made another spin-off show, what should it have been about? Which we now have news that they are doing so. So what do we hope that one's going to be about? Like I said, I hope it is about like finding and training and involving the new Slayers. And I hope that Buffy is more of a watcher role in it and not the Slayer anymore. I hope she has handed that position off and is more of a supporting role.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm going last though.
I like your idea, Adam, of like if this was still like the early 2000s and we got a spinoff, like doing a Watcher spinoff, that would have been great. And just having like a little bit more, like we got little tidbits of like the lore of the Watchers and how they started and all of that sort of stuff, but like having more in-depth information about the Watchers, that would be cool. For the upcoming reboot of it, I very much want to see like Buffy in a Giles-esque role, where she's more of the mentor, but like has her shit together a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, she tried to be the mentor in season 7, but it was just too fresh off of everything that happened in season 6 that girl was damaged. So she's gone, and she's, she had that opportunity post season 7, and we saw a tiny little glimpse of it in Angel, where they're in, what was it, like Paris, and she's dancing in the club.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not actually Sarah Michelle Gellar, but like,
yeah, you never
it alludes to the fact that it is Buffy, and she's just living her life.
Yeah.
And so she gets that opportunity to kind of have that personal growth, and to actually find out who she is. And then she kind of comes back to her roots and is like, okay, like shit's popping off. Sunnydale's been rebuilt. It's no longer just a giant crater in the middle of California. Hellmouth is opening up again, or like some big thing is triggering the fact that she needs to come back. And I hope that it is set back in California.
I hope it's in Cleveland, because at the end of the
oh yeah, they do say that there is a Hellmouth in Cleveland.
There's a Hellmouth in Cleveland. So
you just want them in Ohio.
You just want Spike proximity to you.
I'm
Let's be real.
going to Cleveland in 2 weeks, and if Spike's there, then
Yeah, my answer is I think that they should take the humans, the mundane, powerless humans. They'll never do this because Michelle Trachtenberg just passed away, and Nicholas Brendon's a piece of shit. But it would have been really, really cool to see, Xander, Dawn, and Andrew as a new kind of Watchers Council, right? And like almost kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended up being, like we're sending out agents on missions, and like the Slayers have got things do, and you could follow along like different squads of Slayers for different arcs and things. That would have been really cool to see. I'm a big fan of anything flashback, just like the Ripper series. Like, let's just get 3 or 4 little 6-episode arcs of Rupert Giles fucking around in his early 20s, and like seeing that dark magic, and fucking around like Ethan Rayne's his best friend, but we know how this ends, right? Like that would have been fun.
Or like Angel, Spike, Darla, and Drusilla.
Yeah, that would have been
like
in Victorian era,
like peak their evil timeline. Yeah, like the 4 of them.
I know the actors
early 1900s
to reprise the role, although I think James Marsden probably still fucking could, no problem.
Oh, 100% he could.
Yeah, I think he is a vampire.
100% he could. I think he is also a vampire as well, because that man has aged fine wine.
I remember finding out he was born in the same year as my mom and just being like, what do you mean?
I know.
Yeah, I would want to, like, in the era of streaming, having 3-episode arcs once a year of like them in like the 1910s, them in the 1920s, them in the 1930s, and you just like follow them fucking around through history and see like the nonsense that they got up to in all the different eras, right?
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen like Spike. We saw like a clip of it when he got his leather jacket, his leather trench from the Slayer, but like seeing Spike in like the peak of late 80s, early 90s grudge, like grunge, and like just what he was like then. Chef's kiss. Yeah. We got a little glimpse of it. But I think like a Victorian era Angelus, Darla, Spike, Drew would be so good.
Oh, you know what would have been a cool spinoff? Do you guys remember the character Anne? She started off as like Chantruse or something like that. And she was part of a vampire cult. And then later on, when Buffy ran away for one episode and she was going by Anne, she met this girl on the streets. And then later in Angel, we see her working at a shelter for teens, and they're getting preyed on by vampires. It would have been really cool to see that character with like a bunch of people, like a bunch of troubled teens and stuff that are like getting preyed upon by demons and whatnot. And then Slayer, who doesn't know her own powers, like one of the teens gets her powers, and it's up to this girl and to be like, I know a little bit about this.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah, I can help you, but we don't have the answers and we don't have the resources, right? So
yeah. She was one of the few characters that like reoccurred a couple of times. There were
and ended up with a relatively happy ending. I think she packed up and just left LA before the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good for Anne.
A lot of possibilities out there.
All right. Well, I think that's the end. So thanks for listening to another round of pop culture questions on the It's a Mimic channel. If you'd like to ask us questions about other pop culture properties, you can reach out to us through the mailbag post in the subreddit r/itsAmimic. Hit us up through Facebook or Instagram, send us a message through the website, or join our Patreon, which has a Discord channel dedicated to mailbag questions.
It's first come, first serve, so get those answers in ASAP. We've already got a handful of overflowing questions for the next mailbag in 3 months.
And again, thanks for listening and supporting us at It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get. But I have 3 bonus questions for you guys.
Extras.
Questions.
Because I don't think we're ever going to get another Buffy episode like this until maybe when the new season comes out. But Diggly Blue Moonia asked one question that I saved for the end, and that is, who is the most fuckable character in Buffy?
Faith.
Spike.
Faith and Spike.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're both sleeping on Dark Willow.
Yeah, Dark Willow as well.
But like vampire.
I like Vampire Willow.
Vampire Willow.
Vampire Willow. That's what I mean.
Vampire Willow is different than Dark Willow.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Dark Willow. Vampire Willow.
Vampire Willow. Yeah. Vampire Willow, Faith, Spike.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are the answers.
And guitar playing Giles. But only guitar playing Giles.
So Pepps' boyfriend also asked, when we were talking about this, Pepps dropped it in the Discord, how did Buffy not destroy Riley and Parker during sex?
Okay, so I saw this question and I've been thinking about it, especially because I am just watching season 4. Mm-hmm. With Parker, that was her first experience post Angel, which was really the second guy that she's ever slept with. So I think for a lot of it, she was Pillow Princess. She didn't know what she was doing. Parker, that was like his 900th one night stand of the semester, and it was mid-September. So like he brags about like stamina and things like that, and like, yeah, I get it, it's Buffy, but like I think she Pillow Princessed that one. Hold on.
I also got to give Parker some props here. Angel, who was fucking repressed, super hot Angel, sure, all that shit going on, but Parker by that point in his life knew what the fuck he was doing when Angel was probably like, I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah,
100%.
Right?
So I think Parker like threw hips, right?
100%. With Riley, I like to think that he had some sort of like super soldier serum, like even though they don't really say, like I feel like the guys were experimented on a little bit. And so
that was an arc. He was on medicine. Yeah, he was on medicine and then had withdrawals.
Oh, that's right. He was on the medicine. Yeah. So he had super soldier serum, man. Like,
I don't
he
know
wasn't
that
a normal
it was
guy.
Enough, though. I think that Buffy still had to like hold back.
Yes.
Because like her and Spike tore down an entire house.
Oh yeah.
Like
completely.
They destroyed a whole building.
But it's also like
there was definitely like holding back.
But I think some of that holding back is also Buffy she's 18. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know her the full power of her sexuality at this point. So she's still like, Riley was a little bit of like okay, I'm dipping my toes back in the water and finding things out. And she knows that he's human. So yeah, she's going to hold back a little bit. With Spike, it was just like no hold bar. Like,
yeah,
this guy's indestructible. As long as I don't throw him out in the sun or stake him, like, he's pretty good.
I also imagine that that Riley got all the fucking help he could get. Like, you can picture him going, I've got date night tonight. And as he buys like a fucking 48 pack of batteries and a flat of Gatorade, right? Like, like, I'm going to need all the help I can get to keep up. And it's going to be awesome.
He's pre-gaming.
I am losing weight.
Yeah, especially the episode where like they were summoning the ghost of orphan children by having sex.
The house thrives off their energy. Yeah. I was also thinking of that episode.
Yeah, he had to nap for like a week after that. Like, there's no...
Yeah, that next morning was fucking BLTs and just like the greasiest bacon just to get it back. My last
few days.
I knew we couldn't get through an episode without us bringing up, so I left it till the end. But my last question, and this is the most important question ever asked on in the Buffyverse, and it was in Angel. Buffy and Spike had a very long argument, and I need to know where you guys weigh in. Who would win in a fight, cavemen or astronauts?
Yeah, it depends where the fight's happening.
Yeah.
No, neutral ground. The argument is that the astronauts are smart enough to be able to strategize and work together, but the cavemen have brute strength.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cavemen.
Did you say cavemen?
Cavemen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
No, I'm gonna give it to astronauts. That's, in order to be an astronaut, you have to be in peak physical condition. Like, cavemen are naturally genetically stronger, but astronauts have to have endurance. They have to have such good endurance that they can survive fucking 5 Gs of force.
Okay, but are they in their astronaut suit with the big helmet and having to have an air tank and like line behind them? Because then the caveman can just smash that helmet. And
I wouldn't say that. No, they're probably in their flight suits.
I think astronaut, they're in the astronaut suit with the big dome helmet.
I would say cavemen, just because like cavemen's endurance is actually pretty high, because you think of how like astronauts, and this is always kind of been my like argument for just anything in modern times. We as humans have evolved to become so dependent on the tools that we've created. Yes, our brains are bigger. That's why we are, alpha animal. But cavemen, their endurance, like, they have to go out and they have to hunt for their food, and they are gone for days, if not weeks, to find something that they can kill or be killed by, essentially. And so I would say like their strategy is almost a little bit better because they have that almost like primal pack sense. Same way that wolves hunt and things like that, where they have to have that kind of that synchronicity. Whereas astronauts are going to rely on things that are modern. Cavemen are going to be primal and barbaric. And modern technology is very difficult to go up against that. Yeah, an astronaut can pull out a gun, and the caveman's not going to know what the hell to do with it. But really, if it's hand to hand, the caveman is going to win.
Yeah. Also, like, astronauts aren't really packing. Like, they're not trained in fighting or
no, they're like swimmers. Like they're
they're strong. They have a lot of endurance and stuff, but they don't get like battle training. They don't get taught how to fight properly. They aren't armed with weapons like your general astronaut.
Yeah, but what they're armed with is potentially a fucking Bic lighter, and that right there is enough to spook most of the cavemen away. You pick them off one at a time.
Fire bad, tree pretty.
The tactics and strategy from the astronauts, they could pick off the cavemen one at a time. The cavemen will work together, sure, as one lunges forward at a time, but the astronauts will set traps, and that is a difference. I know, I'm still going astronauts.
I mean, cavemen would also set traps, though, because how else did they catch their like fucking woolly mammoths and stuff that are so much bigger than them? They'd take down giants.
Yeah, but they did it by being loud and whooping and like corralling them towards the nearest cliff to jump off of. That's not going to work on astronauts. They're going to just whoop right back or ignore them and say, oh, good, they're distracted with this one method they know over and over again. Let's go fuck them up. Like, I still think, I'm still saying astronauts. Anyway, I want everyone to write into the comments below or hit us up on the Discord or whatever. Make a Reddit post because we need to know who would win, cavemen versus astronauts.
We're 2-1 right now.
Yeah.
Look,
Adam needs
the reason
some
we don't have
support,
cavemen
guys.
anymore. I'm just saying. I mean, we
Adam
don't
needs
really have
some support,
astronauts
guys.
anymore either, but like, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Astronauts was like the quickest rise and fall of a career I think that we have ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're going up into SpaceX, but they're falling out of the sky, so
I don't think that there's a lot of people that are signing up to become astronauts these days.
I would say probably the fastest rise and fall of a career is like laser disc technician.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
CD manufacturer.
Yeah, right.